Hello YouTube, Fuzzfinger here and welcome back to Final Fantasy IX. So this is our perfect walkthrough where we're going to go and collect everything in the game including Excalibur II, and we're attempting to do this all on one save file. Some people say it's impossible, but hey, I've heard otherwise, so we're giving it a go. So if you're following along with the GameFaqs walkthrough as well, which I'll link in the description, then we're going to be going through the second section today, which is D1-02. So if we do this correctly, we should be able to get this done within 9 minutes and 8 seconds. At least that's our target time, so we'll see how we get on. If you enjoy watching, don't forget to leave a like, and let's get on with today's episode. Alrighty then, so let's click continue here. So obviously we'll be starting exactly where we left off at the end of the first episode. And we're going to begin by following Rat Boy up the steeple. And there's going to be quite a lot of dialogue in this particular episode as well. So once again, if you mess up on any of these areas, just quit back to the main menu and hit continue. And then it'll put you back at the start of that area at the time that you originally went into that area. So it's the best way to restart things without having to go back to the very beginning. So once you get through the dialogue and some of the story cutscenes here, there's also a few items we're going to need to nab. The first is on the left. In fact, they're all gil, I think, if I remember correctly. So we'll grab the gil. There's 3 pieces to get. And just get through the name menu here as quickly as you can. So with those name things, you just need to press R2 and then X to confirm. And over here's the second bit of gil we can grab. One of the most frustrating things I find in doing this speed through is having to manoeuvre around the specific camera angles and that, since you end up getting stuck on spots and stuff that are just getting in your way. There's a third bit of gil anyway. And now we're just going to head over the right hand of these 2 planks off this rooftop and then towards Rat Boy once again in order to kick off the next scene. So we are getting close to the dreaded bit, which I'm sure many of you remember. I'll make sure you skip this. I'm still used to skipping things from Final Fantasy XII, which is why I keep going to the pause menu on cutscenes. So wasted about 4 seconds there, which we didn't need to do. But we'll make up for it later. So a lot of the dialogue throughout this play is dialogue you can't skip. So you can rest your thumb for a little bit if you want to. It will move itself along by default. So yeah, as I was saying, we are coming to that dreaded bit in the moment with the sword fight. And we do have to get a perfect on it, since we're going for a perfect walkthrough. But before that, we've actually got 1 battle to get through, and that's part of this play. So it's another story battle, if you like, a little bit like the one at the start of the game. Only sadly on this occasion, we can't speed things up by killing our own characters. Okay, so I could have ended up doing this battle a lot faster. It does depend a little bit on luck. Whether you want to restart or not, I'll leave it up to you. But every one of these enemies here can cast a magic spell, which has quite a slow cast time, unfortunately, this poly attack. So what you want to try and do is attack the ads first, since if you one-shot those, you can actually kill them before they get to do their poly attack. And that will actually give you a good few seconds off your time. But that does depend, as I say, a bit on the random side of things, because it's all based on how much your ATB gauge is filled up at the start of the battle. So as you can see, sadly, I wasn't actually able to hit them in time before they managed to get their attacks off. But it is just a few seconds here and there, so it's not really something I'm going to worry too much about. Well, that's what I say at the moment, until we get to the end and manage to loot the sword. Or don't loot the sword, as the case may be, because we're 5 seconds too late or something. If I'm like, where could I have found those 5 seconds? Just point me back to this video, that'd annoy me. But anyway, yeah, it takes about 5 or 6 hits to finish off the main guy here, King Leo. And at the end of that battle, we've got a little bit more dialogue coming up, and then we've got the lovely sword fight. And actually, I don't mind the sword fight too much because it has some pretty epic music. Right, so this upcoming minigame with the sword fight is fortunately a lot easier now on the PC and PS4. The reason for that is the autosave feature. So if you did this speed run / perfect run on the original PlayStation version of the game, every time you messed up this sword fight, you'd have to load up your last save in the church steeple in order to start a game. Now you don't have to. If you mess up, and trust me, I messed up a few times here, all you have to do is click back to the main PlayStation menu, load the game up again, hit continue, and it'll put you straight back in at this section here with the sword fight, with your time reset to the point where you first entered this area. So you do have to just practice it a few times. Don't feel like you need to rush because you can have that continue autosave option available to you. And the timing here is obviously very important. Although this is a speed run, it is very important to get every single one of these right, and there's 49 commands that you have to enter. Therefore, don't feel like you have to spam it. Concentrate, look at the buttons, and then press them. You do get about 1.5 seconds, maybe a little bit less than that, to input each command, which if you've got even just average reaction times, shouldn't be a big deal. If you get it perfect and you get 100 nobles impressed in Queen Bran, you'll get a trophy. I actually got the trophy, but then accidentally chose to replay the sword fight anyway. Obviously that's going to waste a lot of time, so I had to quit the game and do it all again. Really annoying, so just bear that in mind as well once you do finish, to select the right option not to restart the sword fight. So our reward for that particular sword fight is 10,000 gil immediately, so long as we've impressed Queen Bran and the 100 nobles, which is going to come in useful. And then there's also a moonstone item which we're going to collect before the end of this particular episode. So there's another couple of dialogue cutscenes here which we just have to let play out. Just make sure you spam your X button so as to get through it as quickly as possible. Now as soon as Zidane gets controllable again here, quickly head down to equip and replace the dagger he's using with the Mage Masher. And at that point we're going to head up these stairs. Or try and head up these stairs. And another cutscene is going to play out with the hooded girl. So choose the first option, let her pass. And then just spam to the dialogue once more. So a lot of episodes are going to be mainly spamming dialogue. There's a lot of it in Final Fantasy IX, a lot of story cutscenes. Even more so, I think, than other Final Fantasy games from the PlayStation era. And here we have our two friendly clowns. Or not so friendly as the case may be. And again, it's just a dialogue scene. So now we're introduced to our next character, Steiner, and his name option is going to pop up in a moment, so be ready to just R2 on that, followed by the X to confirm. Pretty much the same as we've done with Zidane and Vivi up to this point. But as of yet, there's still a little bit more conversation to get through, so just keep smashing that X button. To be honest, one of the hardest parts of this walkthrough is perfecting that noble sword fight. So if you can get that done, you've actually come over quite a big stumbling block already. But as I said, it is literally made so much easier thanks to that autosave feature. So we get a little bit more of a cutscene with Steiner here, but we are going to be taking control of him in a moment, so be ready to do so. Once you do take control of him, it will be downstairs. So get ready with the direction pad to move him back upstairs. Or with the D-pad's what I said, wasn't it? I generally use the D-pad over the analog stick. On this game anyway. Because it's just a lot easier to control the angles, in my opinion. But hey, that might not work for you. With Steiner, head back to Queen Bran. You'll get the Moonstone, which is the reward for getting a perfect on the sword fight. And then it's just a case of running back down the stairs and into the room where Zidane came from a moment ago. And we're going to speak to the Pluto Knights here. And that's it for this episode. Once they run off, we're going to save as quickly as we can. And I'm going for a new save file here now, so that we can keep the first one as a backup. Alright then, so my save file says 17 minutes and 35 seconds is our playtime, which is pretty much what you want to be aiming for. This is 3 seconds above what Atomos says is the target time of 17:32, but that's because that's based on the original PS1 version, and it is a lot easier to skip through dialogue on that than it is here on the PS4 and on Steam. So don't worry about that. We are going to make up time later when we don't have dialogue heavy episodes, but for now that's a pretty good time. And if you've been following along exactly as I've been doing, then you should have 10,811 gil as well. Of course, the bulk of that just came from perfecting that sword fight. So this means we're in a pretty good position now to be heading over into the third section of this playthrough, which we'll be doing in the next episode, so please do come and join me for that, and let me know how you're getting on if you're following along as well, and do come back soon for more Final Fantasy IX. Cheers all, thanks for stopping by today, goodbye.